right, thank you very much again for continuing on with that. All right, 11.2 is the Northstar transition for the Anoka station and overpass.
Mr. Mayor, Council, again, last item of the evening here, but we've been interacting with the Metropolitan Council and Met Transit regarding the movement towards discontinuing of the existing Northstar commuter rail service and their transition to Metro Transit bus service. What I've put in the report this evening is some options. We've been in negotiations, or at least having discussions. I shouldn't call them negotiations, but discussions regarding the potential of what could happen with the infrastructure. And as you can see by the photo up on the photo up on your screen, there's a lot of infrastructure there. And that includes two pedestrian towers, the overpass, that ties into our ramp, and then there's this is the east or the south tower closest to the ramp. You can see there's waiting areas. There's a lot of the platform itself, and then another shot of the east south. And then the other side here, but again, right now Met Council is making plans for the removal of all this infrastructure. And so this evening we provide some options for you to think about. I don't think we've had this discussion as a whole, council as a whole, regarding this. So, one option, and we've talked about is, do we try to push for retaining the platforms and the towers, the overpass, the whole thing? And that was kind of some thought process there early in this. Since then, last week we learned, and I provided a copy of the email to you. It's in your packet this evening, but Burlington Northern Santa Fe has taken the position that they want to see all the platforms across the board out of there right away. So that might may limit the feasibility of option one. Option two is the idea of retaining the pedestrian towers and the overpass. And if you look at the bottom of the email on the second page that I provided in the packet, they talk about kind of wanting to get an idea of, because we talked about the idea of is there a way to, how do we maximize the ramp? What do we do with it? Can we tie this infrastructure into a potential development, at the 4th and Johnson site? Some of those ideas. And so that's been kind of a discussion. And then option three, at the very minimum, what we do have to try and fight for is this south tower, because this south tower provides ADA and fire access to our ramp, so it's essential that that we try to retain that. Now, a portion that is still in Burlington Northern's right away. So, and Met Council staff hadn't put all that together last week when Greg and I had been talking, and I called some of the staff at Met Council and said, hey, you guys need to be thinking about this. And they're like, gosh, we hadn't thought about it. So, so that piece of it, that south end, is super important as far as being able to meet ADA and fire code and all those different things related to the ramp, because the ramp is a huge structure. And we certainly don't want to lose this and then end up having to rebuild something, because that wouldn't look really good. So we definitely need to, we definitely need to for sure try to fight for that south tower to make the ramp feasible and work going into the future. So I think this evening we're looking for direction, and where the council maybe wants to go with this, or where your thoughts are at this point. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, Council.
Yeah.
Councilmember Rostand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Borglum, thank you for that. I have a couple questions. First, on this image that you have up here, could you clarify what is considered the platform and right-of-way for BNSF?
Yeah, so our, and I don't have a right-of-way map, I apologize
No.
this evening, but the platform is everything that's, all that infrastructure, that the hard surface, you'll
Like
see.
up to the
all
yellow
running
line?
all along the track there, where
Yeah.
people would stand.
Further
That's the.
Further back than that?
You
Okay.
can kind of, and maybe you can go to GIS. I know it's not exact,
that might
but
give it a little
it's
better.
about where those pavers, you know,
Can you pull that up?
when I was out there today and looking at it, it basically looks like it goes through that tower.
Yeah, this is a
middle.
little
That's so
better.
the
Up the Southern Tower?
yeah. So the elevator may be outside. You can see that little box there is outside, but the stairwell is inside Burlington Northern. So it sort of cuts right through the middle of that tower.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads to my next question in terms of like, Anoka owns the ramp. Anoka owns the tower?
No. So Metropolitan Transit, Met Council, they own the towers, the overpass, and the platform.
Got it.
And they have lease agreements with Burlington Northern Santa Fe. So we are not a party to those agreements. So we're a party to the lease that we hold with Met Council, the 200-year lease on the ramp itself. But we are not a party to the lease agreements between the Met Council, Metro Transit, and BN or Burlington Northern Santa Fe.
Okay, and then one last question I have is, what have you, if anything, have you heard from like Ramsey or are they in a similar situation? Anyone else who has like the tower overpass scenario? Like,
Yeah, Ramsey, I think Ramsey with the overpass, it's almost like part of their trail system.
Right.
So they're a little bit different. I think every city's got a little bit of a different spin
Okay.
on what they're looking to get out of it. But all cities are going to be within the system of the corridor are being affected in some way, shape, or form.
That's a good question though, because we're all in kind of a different scenario. But I'm glad staff figured this out and brought this forward, because yeah, it does make a, you know, at the time it was over $10 million. Today that ramp's worth way more than that. But it does, you know, we had the ramp, we got different funds for that, but that tower and all that was built by them. If they would have built it in a different way, this, you know, obviously the whole Northstar thing is its own issue, but this wrinkle is, you know, if that tower goes away, or they, you know, they need to at least make us whole $1 million, $2 million, whatever it costs, and that needs to make that, because they're taking a ramp that's not even 15 years old, maybe it's 15 years old now, and making it non-compliant with ADA, which is completely unacceptable. And I know I'll just say, it's very easy to crap on Met Council, because a lot of people do it, but there's reasons that is the case. And when you have an unelected body that makes these large of decisions, and when they announce their decision after the legislature conveniently ended, and they want to have it done by January before the legislature starts again, that's very telling itself, because they are trying to cut out the elected representatives from them basically undoing billions of dollars worth of infrastructure that isn't even 20 years old. And so that, I think, is what's, this whole process has rubbed me the wrong way. And I think it's rubbed our legislators locally the wrong way as well, because it's very deliberate in how this is being done, and it's not taking into account all these people. And when you don't have those conversations and you don't have an open process, despite what they say about having public hearings, that's when this stuff gets missed. That's when people don't think about these things, because you haven't vetted the proposal. I mean, to create this, it took a long time. I mean, idea was out there probably for decades, but even when things started, it was a decade or more to do this. And it's trying to be undone in 6 months or whatnot. And to me, it's completely ridiculous. So it's not the solution. I just needed to vent a little bit because it's really frustrating me. Councilmember Weaver.
I'm disappointed in the Met Council. I would use better words than crap, but I won't.
13 here.
It's a 4-letter word, too. I agree that they're trying to do this between legislative sessions, so the legislature can't speak. Maybe the 4 or 5 cities that are part of this that all have the same quandaries should join together, sue the Met Council, and try to get an injunction that would slow this down till the legislature starts. And it would throw a wrench in that they couldn't get through, and maybe some smart legislators would see that they're making a very bad mistake before we buy a Northstar train car on Facebook Marketplace, you know? So, because there isn't a good option. You look at that, they already have the red lines on the pavers where the electric service comes in. They're ready to tear it out. They're ready to go. And I rode that train on Saturday to the game, and that thing was packed. And you could just hear it even when the engineer talked to the passengers coming on and off the train. They know that this thing's doomed, and it was just a different feeling. And there were people, counting people, I don't know who it was, but it wasn't somebody from, it wasn't a conductor. It was somebody in street clothes that was counting. So I don't know what's up with what somebody's trying to do, but maybe they need a little shot over the bow. And maybe the 5 cities should get together and put a halt on this thing. Wouldn't be hard to do. Till the legislature acts, because you may get a legislature that says, hey, this is getting rid of that. Just a short story, but my wife and I just got back from Europe. We rode the train all over. We rode the train in Germany. We rode the train from Heathrow down to Paddington Square in central London, and I just saw what it cost. It was $40 a piece round trip. On the train on Sunday or Saturday, when we went to the game, for 4 of us, it was $13. There's something wrong with how they've structured all this. So, and you look at the train in Europe; those things are packed at Heathrow. It's crazy how many people use the train and travel by the train. And same with Germany. I mean, the things are packed all the time. So, I think we're making a mistake tearing out all this infrastructure. As Eric said, it is brand new. It's in great shape, and it's going to come back. I mean, yes, it's being subsidized heavily by taxpayers, but sort of those road miles because building a lane of traffic isn't cheap either. So you've already got the infrastructure in place. I think just better management on times, when it runs, and how it gets people back and forth. They missed this from the get-go, and they couldn't figure it out. But you look at the special event trains, whether it's a Twins train or a Vikings train or other ones, when they did holiday trains down to the Union Depot, or they used to go to Holidazzles. It was crazy busy. So they've really missed out. I don't want to take any of the options. I want it to stay.
I don't put words. Okay, I saw you moving, Councilmember Campbell.
I'm just thinking of Councilman Weaver's suggestion. What would it take for us to have a conversation with the other cities and see if we can always get an injunction.
Let it get back into the legislative session time so they can start to talk about it again.
Right. I'm looking at our attorney, but before we, do that I think at minimum, just trying to get all of us together to see where everybody's at. I mean, staff-wise, I know there's been discussions, but I don't think it's been, hey, maybe we got to be this tip of the spear to have these conversations with some of these other jurisdictions, because that's the game that's being played right now, is they're trying to get it done without as many people weighing in as possible.
That's it.
And, even today I went out there to look at this, and I hadn't been in there for a little bit of while, but, there's not 5 cars there anymore. There was 45 cars there today, because
on a Monday.
I had a neighbor tell me, he's like, yep, my work just started 5 days a week back downtown again. And so you're getting more and more of that. And I think that's another reason they're trying to do it is they want to use the numbers when they were poor. to be able to justify this. So I'm in favor of looking at that option, definitely, for sure. And maybe if council's direction would be to speak with these other cities and know that that is, maybe work with the legal counsel to look at whatever options those are. I know there's smart attorneys in some of those other cities as well. I'm sure they've had their discussions, but maybe having a discussion with them as well to see how we would want to go about that. But as we said, it's moving quick. So whether that's to come back to us at an official meeting or a work session, please
It needs to
know there's
happen
some haste
soon.
that's involved with this. So council, are we okay with directing staff to look at, talk to other cities and see what, if there's a legal option available to us?
I'm fine with it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm seeing 5 nods. Do you want to weigh in anything at this point, or do you want to hold your powder
Hold your
there,
cards
sir?
close.
No, I mean, as we were talking, I'm starting to try and think of legal theories upon which to get the injunction, whether it's a detrimental reliance or a promissory estoppel, or what bothers me about this is the investment that the city had in the parking ramp itself based upon this, I'll use the word promise, of Northstar. And now they're going away, and we're left with our own infrastructure to nowhere, basically. And that's what's kind of bothering me about this, is this reliance upon this promise that was made, and the investment by the city of time and staff and money and everything else. Whether it's a viable legal theory that can move forward, I don't know. That just kind of came to the top of my head. But it does seem that the city was sold on something, and now they're taking it away. And yet we're left here with, what are we going to do with this? I know that the agreement between Met Council and BNSF, I believe, is if the Northstar ever discontinued, so too does their Met Council's lease rights. And part of the discussion, we've been meeting with Met Council folks and trying to work through this. Part of the thought was, at least relative to the South Tower, okay, the Met Council has the lease. Could they assign that to the city if we needed to keep it, and would BNSF agree to that? Well, if not, Mr. Mayor, just as you pointed out, if that tower goes, well, now they've just thrown our ramp into a non-conforming structure. So, that's yet another thing to keep in mind as well. And if we have to keep it, should Met Council take part in some of the maintenance? I mean, the maintenance of these things are going to be astronomical as well, with the elevator costs and all of that. It's even just associated with just the South Tower. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, other than, here you go, City of Anoka, take this on, and we're good. We're going to do buses now. There's more questions, I think, that should be asked. But the timing, you're right. They are moving quick.
Well, let's get the smart attorneys working, Mr. Mayor, and show them we're a little smarter than they are.
All right, so council consensus, staff, you clear? Clear, yep. All right.
There's money.
Keep us in the loop, thank you.